Jimmy Butler brings the Warriors a dynamic they never had. A post-up player, a player who gets to the line and get fouled, and Jimmy Butler by himself is capable of affecting and changing the outcome of the game. This dude is almost like he bullied everybody in the league, bro. He bullying everybody in the league, offensively, defensively. Now that take a lot of attention off of Steph Curry. When Kuminga come back and those other dudes can fill in the gap, you got talent and you got two polar personalities.
Anybody with Steph is good. Jimmy with Steph is great. But the biggest reason Jimmy was so important for us.
I mean, I've been a part of them making big acquisitions to change their dynamic of their team before. And I had to go against them when they added Kevin Durant. So, I mean, Jimmy Butler is great, and he adds a toughness to him. He adds a championship DNA type of guy. But it's always the same. They always figure it out. They always add somebody that makes them dynamic.
The Golden State Warriors were drowning. 25 wins, 26 losses. The dynasty was over. The doubters were celebrating. Stephen Curry was out there fighting for his basketball life while the rest of the league laughed at what Golden State had become. And then, in one moment, everything changed. They made a trade that every expert said was desperate, risky, maybe even reckless. They bet everything on a 35-year-old player who just imploded his way out of Miami with 3 suspensions and more drama than a reality TV show. Steve Kerr himself admitted the team was dead in the water. And you know what happened next? They didn't just survive, they dominated. They went on an absolute rampage that left the entire NBA stunned. This is the story of how the Warriors came back from the dead and why you absolutely cannot count them out this season. So what did they do? They rolled the dice on one of the most controversial players in the NBA, Jimmy Butler. On February 5th, 2025, the Warriors pulled off a massive 5-team trade, sending Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroeder, Lindy Waters III, and a protected first-round pick to acquire the 6-time All-Star from Miami.
Jimmy Butler is on his way to the Golden State Warriors. The deal includes sending Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick, all to the Miami Heat. Udonis Haslem, you're a resident member of the Miami Heat.
And let's be real, this was risky as hell. Butler had just come off one of the messiest breakups in recent NBA history. 3 separate suspensions, a very public divorce from the Heat. Remember, he'd even told the Warriors he wouldn't sign an extension with them initially. The man was a walking red flag.
I think they just got rid of what I guess they call a distraction for them. So I think both sides is actually happy with this. And the fact that Golden State got to keep Kuminga, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'll say 51-49.
ESPN's analysts were skeptical. CBS Sports gave them a B+ grade. Solid, but not spectacular. Many questioned whether a 35-year-old Butler, whose scoring average had dropped to 17 points per game, could actually move the needle. But here's where it gets interesting. GM Mike Dunleavy, who played with Butler in Chicago, vouched for him personally. Guy is a gamer, hell of a player, he told Kerr. And Kerr's response? Great, let's do it. But more than anything, we needed a change.
And boy, did they get one. What happened next wasn't just good, it was borderline miraculous. In Butler's very first game as a Warrior against the Chicago Bulls on February 8th, something clicked. Golden State won, and then they kept winning. After starting 0-2 with Butler adjusting, they rattled off victories left and right. The numbers tell an insane story. Before Butler, Warriors were 25-26, stuck in 10th place. With Butler, they went 23-9 the rest of the season. When both Butler and Curry played together, 22-5 record. Let me repeat that. A 22-5 record, that's championship-level basketball.
Obviously, it's not, you build relationships with guys on the team, get chemistry and things like that.
But here's what the box score doesn't show. Butler wasn't just adding points, he was transforming the entire ecosystem of the team. Their offensive rating jumped from 18th to 8th after his arrival.
their plus-minus in non-Curry minutes, it flipped from -2.9 to plus 9.9. When Butler was on the floor without Steph, they were plus 18 points per 100 possessions. That's not a typo. Yahoo Sports Analysis revealed something fascinating. Butler was responsible for nearly 40 points per 36 minutes when you factor in his scoring, assists, and the shots he created through screening. Only Curry generated more points for the Warriors. Steve Kerr summed it up perfectly. As soon as we traded for Jimmy Butler, we got really good. And as soon as Steph Curry got hurt, we lost. Sometimes it's that simple.
Well, the beauty of Jimmy is that he knows exactly who he is, and he's so good. He's one of the very best isolation players in the game. And the way we played with multiple shooters, all we had to do was get him the ball. And one of the first things Jimmy told me when he got here was, just give it to me. Like I would ask him, like, do you want it on this side or that side? I don't care.
So what made it work? Why did this mercurial superstar, who'd burned bridges in Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and Miami, suddenly become the Warriors' savior? 3 reasons. 1. The perfect skill set match. Butler isn't just a scorer, he's the ultimate complementary superstar. The Warriors ranked 25th in points in the paint before his arrival. Butler still gets to the rim at an elite level. He's also the best isolation player in the league analytically, according to Steve Kerr.
He's one of the very best isolation players in the game.
When defenses collapsed on Curry beyond the arc, Butler attacked the paint. When they focused on stopping Butler's drives, Curry got clean looks from 3. It was basketball chess at its finest. Plus, Butler transformed their free throw rate. They jumped from 28th in free throw attempt rate to 5th after his arrival. That's possession after possession of free points. 2. The Draymond connection. This is where it gets really interesting. Everyone worried about 2 alphas, Draymond and Jimmy, clashing. Instead, they became best friends.
I appreciate it, but I think we got a lot of those lines. Draymond probably being the biggest one. He's always barking at somebody in a good way, because he wants to win, and he wants to win every possession, and he wants to win every single game. Home, road, doesn't matter. And I like that. I like that fieriness that everybody has. Tonight was one of many, so we want to get it rolling.
2 winners that would do anything to win, Butler told ESPN. He could care less about personal success. He's just trying to win a championship. I just want to win. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. We ain't going to never butt no heads, because all we want to do is win. Draymond called Butler a franchise changer and praised how easy it was to build chemistry with him. Tom Thibodeau, who coached both players, highlighted their ability to think on their feet and their elite anticipation on defense. They even played dominoes on the team plane. Jimmy learned the game from his late father, adding the 3 to his jersey to honor him, and Draymond had been waiting 9 years for that match. 3. The leadership impact. Here's what doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Butler settled everyone down. Assistant coach Ron Adams, in his 32nd NBA season, said, "He settles everybody down, and that's something we needed, especially when closing games." He's made Steph and Draymond better.
I applaud Jimmy. Jimmy looks great. He's looking like the best player in the playoffs so far. This is where the dogs come out. Jimmy is a dog.
Butler's composure in crunch time was legendary. His triple-double against Toronto when Curry got injured? That wasn't just impressive, it was a statement. 16 points, 12 assists, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. He went 1 for 11 in the 4th quarter shooting, but still won the game through defense and playmaking. But regular season success is one thing. What about when the stakes are highest? The Warriors entered the play-in tournament as the 7th seed. Butler absolutely exploded for 38 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals against Memphis, his highest scoring game as a Warrior. They advanced. Then came the Houston Rockets in round 1. The 2nd-seeded Rockets, who many thought would cruise past Golden State. The Warriors jumped out to a 3-1 series lead. Houston fought back to force Game 7. And in a hostile road environment, the Warriors closed them out.
Buddy Hield caught fire, becoming just the 5th player in NBA history to make 14 three-pointers in a 2-game playoff span, joining Curry, Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard, and Desmond Bane. Butler provided the steady hand. Then came the conference semifinals against Minnesota. Game 1, Warriors won. And then, tragedy. Curry strained his hamstring. Without their engine, Golden State lost 4 straight games. But even in defeat, they proved something crucial. They could actually win without Curry on the floor, something that was unthinkable before Butler arrived.
Come on, man. We pivoted to Jimmy Butler. You're doing great.
Oh, Butler has been giving these guys a lot of juice. And you know the one thing he does is underrated? He getting free throws. They're not living by jump shots now. Jimmy's averaging over 10 free throws a game since he got there. That's making a huge difference.
Here's what makes this story even more compelling. Butler signed a 2-year, $121 million extension. He's locked in through the 2026-27 season. Fast forward to now, October 2025. The Warriors added veteran big man Al Horford to bolster their already elite defense, 7th ranked last season. They re-signed Jonathan Kuminga to a 2-year deal after restricted free agency drama. They brought back defensive specialist Gary Payton II.
I started to pass a little bit, and they knew that I was coming here, that I was going to be playing with Steph, my son right away. He's very excited about it. To be able to be on the floor with him and not have to chase him around and try to contest him and all that, it's something that's special for me.
And the core is intact. Curry, now 37, Butler, 36, and Draymond, 35, are running it back. Yes, they're older. Yes, the clock is ticking, but they've proven something crucial. When healthy, this trio can compete with anyone. The pace will be different this year. Kerr expects a more methodical, Butler-controlled tempo. No more running at 100 miles per hour. Instead, they'll play through Butler's deliberate style, using his ability to get to the line, create for others, and connect the defense to the offense. Now, I know what you're thinking, but they're old. Curry's 37, Butler's 36. They'll break down. Valid concerns, but consider this. When both Curry and Butler were healthy and playing together last season, they went 22-5. That's a 71-win pace over a full season. The analytics backed it up. They had the 3rd best record in the league from February 8th onwards, behind only Oklahoma City and Boston. ESPN's latest player rankings put Butler as the 18th best player in the NBA, jumping up 10 spots from a year ago despite his age. Meanwhile, the Warriors dodged bullets with Paul George, who fell from 21st to 54th after injury issues, and Lauri Markkanen. Marcus Thompson II of The Athletic wrote, "What matters most is whether Curry can still be elite in a season he'll end at 38 years old." But Curry's on-court impact last season showed his largest offensive differential since 2018-19. The man is still cooking. This isn't just about basketball stats and playoff runs. This is about organizational intelligence and risk management. Think about the alternatives. The Warriors chased Paul George. He got hurt and fell off dramatically. They pursued trades for other stars, got rejected repeatedly. They could have tanked and rebuilt. Instead, they made a calculated gamble on a veteran who still had gas in the tank, and it worked. The trade cost them Andrew Wiggins, ranked 89th by ESPN, some role players, and the 19th overall pick. In return, they got a top 20 player who transformed their season. That's front office brilliance. Plus, the chemistry piece can't be overstated. Draymond said both Curry and Butler are the easiest people to build chemistry with. When your 3 stars genuinely like playing together and sacrifice for winning, that's when magic happens. The most satisfying part of this whole story? Proving everyone wrong. The media wrote them off. Analysts said they were too old. Fans mourned the dynasty's death. Even their own coach admitted they were dead in the water. And then they rose from the ashes. Jimmy Butler, the guy who'd supposedly destroyed every locker room he'd been in, became the glue that held everything together. The 35-year-old washed forward turned into a franchise-changing acquisition. Now they're heading into this season as a legitimate threat. Will they win the championship? Maybe, maybe not.
The West is loaded with young, hungry teams like Oklahoma City. But writing off this Warriors team? That's a mistake you only make once, because they've already shown you what happens when you count them out. They prove you wrong, emphatically. So here's the bottom line. These new Warriors, the Butler, Curry, Draymond trio, are better than you think because they've already done what seemed impossible. They took a sinking ship, added one controversial piece, and turned it into a playoff contender that knocked off the 2 seed. They went from dead in the water to 23-9. They transformed from a team that couldn't function without Curry to one that could actually win games when he rested. Most importantly, they rediscovered their identity, not as the run-and-gun Warriors of old, but as a more methodical, experienced team that can beat you in multiple ways. The Warriors are back, and if you're still sleeping on them, you might want to set an alarm, because this team has proven they're dangerous, they're hungry, and they're absolutely not done yet. What do you think? Can the Warriors make a deep playoff run this season with this core? Are Curry and Butler the perfect duo, or is age going to catch up with them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Warriors' resurrection, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already for more NBA analysis and breakdowns. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Share this video with any Warriors fans or NBA heads in your life.